what would you say for you now as a mom? Talk a little bit about the identity shift and also some of the new ways that you are meeting your needs, because you were, the Tatiana James on YouTube, and obviously you have a lot of views and subscribers, etc. And as we just described, many women can struggle with the significance of being a mom. But one thing that I've observed from you is you obviously have gone through some challenges with that, but also like you've taken a lot of pride and significance in being a mom and seeing how developed Lucas is, the results of that, and also the significance. Like you, for example, cook a lot, prepare meals a lot. And, I'm more in the mindset of outsourcing a lot of that stuff because, I'm not a big fan of cooking. But for you, it's like the significance of like you're going through, an online course about nutrition and all these things because you feel a sense of significance being able to give that gift of health and vitality and well-being to your family and be able to provide that. And like, can you just talk a little bit about that for yourself?
Yeah. Well, I would say, of course, the transition from being, who I have known myself to be all these years to now becoming a mom, it's a major transition in life. It is the butterfly, the caterpillar who turns into a butterfly. I literally, when a caterpillar turns into a butterfly, their face literally splits in half and they shed their entire body. There's nothing of their previous body that exists. They become a totally new transformed self. And I think that's what happens to every woman who becomes a mother. Mm-hmm. And I think where the suffering comes in is in the attachment to that previous identity, the identity that's gone. It's you can't grab hold of it. It's gone. You've now become a butterfly and you haven't realized that you're a butterfly yet. You don't realize how beautiful you are. You can't see yourself, but you're searching for your previous identity. And I think the key is to let go of that. The sooner that you let go of that attachment, the more quickly you're going to realize your new potential, and the more quickly you're going to realize that you have a new identity that you can now create for yourself. And so at first I was holding on. I thought I could still be that Tatiana James who was before having a child. I thought I could still be her. I thought there was parts of me that would change, parts of my life that would change, but I could still have some of that past. And society also told me, oh, you shouldn't let go of everything. You shouldn't, give up everything for your child. Like, you want to have something for yourself. But it's like, I realized that that's not true. Like you do change. Everything about you changes. Every cell in your body, the way you think, you become mom. And so I gave up on that old Tatiana James, and I was like, okay, that's not who I am anymore. And that's a good thing. That's a blessing. I'm now so much more. And I realized I'm Tatiana James 2.0. I'm Tatiana James, who's now a mother, and becoming a mother has given me so many new qualities. Like I said earlier, one of those qualities is being this like fierce mama bear. There's this fierceness within me, this fire within me that I didn't have before, where it's like, threaten my child in any way and, it will be the end of you. Not literally, but, like there's this like toughness in me. There's this like, this fighter in me now that I didn't have before. And I'm actually really respecting that, and I'm seeing the value in that. And there's also this really caring and nurturing side of me that's come out. I've always been that way, but way more so. Like I don't actually like cooking, but this nurture within me is so strong that I'm like, I'm gonna damn well learn how to cook because I want to provide the most nutritious meals for my family, and I love what's rewarding is just seeing how it is. I am creating, like today, yesterday I made a gluten-free bread, homemade bread for you guys, and it tasted delicious. And it's like I'm putting dinner on the table, and it feels good. And it's not just like a quick meal. So there's a lot of qualities now that I'm forming a new identity. I'm not quite there yet where I really know who I am. I don't think I ever fully know because I'm always transforming. I'm always changing. For you to say, I love you for who you are, what that really does is it puts me inside a box saying, never change, because I love you for who you are now, not realizing that every day I'm growing, every day I'm changing. Who I am next week, who I am a month from now is going to be different than who I am now. So really, I'm kind of piecing together this new version of me and taking my time to do it and appreciating all these new sides of me, appreciating how I'm so much more present in my day. Like I used to be so impatient because it was all about productivity for me. And now it's like, you know, when you have a toddler, he's loving, he just wants to walk everywhere. You really have to hold his finger. He holds my finger and I walk around and, you know, half an hour goes by where we're just walking around and he's looking at the bushes and stuff. And it's like, okay, bring in presence to this moment. And like, I actually think I'm so much wiser, so much greater, so much more conscious because of him. And that's why I feel like children are really a great gift. And children are spiritual teachers for us because they do help us to slow down. They do help us to realize, you know, become more in alignment with ourselves. And they show us this light. They have this twinkle in their eye, this spirit within them that's so alive, so new, so fresh. And we recognize that. And that's why I think so many people love babies and love kids, because they see that and they see the beauty of them, that soul. They say the eye is the window to the soul.
Programming and just pure consciousness.
Yes, and they're just so open and free. There's nothing that's hindering them.
There's no identity that they've formulated for themselves yet.
And like I was saying earlier, when you're conscious, consciousness attracts people, right? And you're going to become an attractor to everything you want in your life. A child, the reason that we're so attracted to a child is because we see how conscious they are. And we are ourselves as conscious human beings. We want that. We want to become more conscious. That's our lifelong goal, you know, unconsciously or not, is this goal to become more in alignment with our source, with who we are. And so, so I recognize that, and I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. He's so amazing, and I'm learning so much from him. And I mean, I don't even remember what you asked me.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, also the spiritual growth and the direction of going in, we're not even, you know, we all have these needs and the need to be significant. And in that previous life, you know, that was maybe more of a dominant need, and you still meet that need now as a mom, as you know, taking care of the family and all these other things, even doing a podcast like this, you know, reconnecting with publishing everything once in a while. It's a way to meet that. But as you continue to grow spiritually, you're not as driven by the need to feel significant. You know, you're not as driven by the need to feel certain and in control of things. You are more free just to and comfortable with yourself, secure within yourself, that, hey, you know, I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to make more money. I don't need to have all these followers or, you know, things like that in my life. Great. It's great to inspire and share and give and contribute, but I'm doing it from a much more different place. And it sounds like you've been able to re-evaluate your identity, recreate your identity into this new one, but it's a new one. This Tatiana James 2.0 is a more complete, more full, more whole, more balanced version of yourself. And then maybe that's not like what, again, society, because, you know, one thing that is always interesting is I think a lot of women can be put on a pedestal who are like these super entrepreneur moms, you know, like they have 3-4 kids and they're like a multimillionaire, you know, and like you see them out in the world, like running these massively successful businesses while also being parents. But you're only really seeing one side of the story, one side of the picture, because again, in society, we're going to overvalue people that have success. And when you attach mom to that, you automatically might assume, oh, wow, like that's great that you're also a mom. That's amazing. But you don't necessarily know what, you know, how involved are you as a mom? Like, do you just basically have,
I don't know what the costs are.
Yeah. You know, like, yes, you can be a super successful mom entrepreneur, but then have, you know, never be present in your children's lives, have housekeepers and nannies and all that, take care of that, not have a great relationship with your husband, not really be optimizing your health, your spiritual development, living in the present moment, all those other things. And so, there's trade-offs and there's certain things like that. And unfortunately, society doesn't necessarily acknowledge or value as much someone who I guess has it all and has that balance, because you can't really measure happiness and a great marriage and a great, you know, being a great mom. Like those are things that you can't really quantify in the same way as you can having a successful business and having a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if you are going to go down that path, that is the more fulfilling, the more spiritual path, you can't be concerned about what society thinks of you, because society will always kind of keep you in that level of consciousness that is consumed by ego, materialism, like all of what
Significance.
society tells you what success is, rather than defining what your own success is going to be and pursuing that regardless of what everyone else thinks, regardless of whether or not the world gives you any props or any significance for what you're doing or how you're being. But within yourself,
Yeah.
I'm living true to myself. I'm living the life that I want to live. And it doesn't matter how, what other people think of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, also it's recognizing that it's a very cultural thing. When you travel, this is a great learning that you have, is you realize that different cultures do things differently, and different cultures don't value success in the same hardcore way that we do in North America. And realizing that, yeah, it's just one way of life. And I do think it's a shame that moms oftentimes don't feel significant enough just being mom, because again, it is the most significant role. But yeah, my wish is that moms can recognize how significant that position is, and how great that responsibility is. And I wish that society would honor moms more for that. And yeah, there's a lot of great mom bosses out there, and I think that's fantastic. I'm all for that. But don't be naive into thinking that any of these women have done it by themselves. The women who do have these really large businesses, are building these empires, they have a whole team of people to support them. They have nannies, they have chefs, they have chauffeurs. They have their husband oftentimes stays at home and watches the kids, so it's a switch of roles. Very few cases have I ever seen where it's like the mom is not only building an empire, but also is at home doing the traditional role of a mom.